Mr. Chahal, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Michael.
Listen, I need to start with the why here. Why involve yourself in the cause of an individual who was involved in one of the more tragic incidents in the last 10 years in this country? Why involve yourself in that?
Well, Michael, I've been following this tragic accident for a number of years. I was a city councilor at the time when I saw this happen. And I know this tragic accident touched Canadians across the country. And my thoughts and prayers go first with the families who are still grieving. As a member of parliament, Mr. Sidhu is a constituent of mine. He just happens to be living in Northeast Calgary. And when I reflect on my role as a member of parliament, what I believe morally is what I'm obligated to do, I felt it was my obligation to stand up and support Mr. Sidhu so he could remain in Canada with his family. When I saw the tragic accident, and I've reflected over the last number of days after meeting with Mr. Sidhu and his family as a father, as a husband, I'm a dad of 3 girls, and it's unimaginable the loss that's occurred and how the families are dealing with their grief and how they move forward. So I can't even imagine what they've gone through. And I know it's been difficult and it is a difficult journey. Mr. Sidhu is also grieving and he has a heavy burden on him. So does his wife, who's a registered nurse, a Canadian citizen, who actually is working in the same ICU where their son, when he was born, was treated, as he has a heart and lung condition that requires specialized neonatal care. She's working back in the same hospital. When I looked at that child, when I did meet with the family last week, I saw a child with a bright future. And, when I thought about what his future would look like without his father, or just with his mother as a single parent, I knew I had to step in and support Mr. Sidhu and his family to make sure that young child has a future here and has health care that can help him be healthy and well. And that mother, his mom, also has her partner to help support their family as we move forward.
Okay, let me jump in there because they're quickly running out of time, unfortunately. But you mentioned the families, and when you speak to the families, yes, there are those who have forgiven Mr. Sidhu, but there are also a number of families who say closure really isn't possible with him in the country. They want to see this deportation happen. What do you say specifically to those families?
Well, Mr. Sidhu has acknowledged what happened on with that tragic accident. He was incarcerated, he's been rehabilitated, and he's back in our community, and he's very remorseful. And I think we need to ask ourselves of retribution or rehabilitation. And I think as Canadians, we believe in rehabilitation and we believe in keeping this family together. This will tear apart Mr. Sidhu's family, and will also in the future impact his child's ability to have a healthy lifestyle and being able to grow here in Canada. And so what I'm asking,
I'm sorry to jump in, except that when you look at the judgment that came down over his case, the judge acknowledged that Mr. Sidhu has expressed remorse. He acknowledged that it's not going to be easy, but at the same time, the law fairly clear here. If you are not a Canadian citizen, if you are an immigrant to this country and commit a serious crime, then you must be deported. So he is just following the letter of the law.
Well, the officer did state that as well in the deportation hearing last week, which resulted in Mr. Sidhu not being able to work anymore and his wife being the sole breadwinner for the family. But as Mr. Sidhu's lawyers indicated, he will be applying for based on humanitarian compassionate grounds, which were not a part of the decision by the officer on the deportation. And I'm hoping that through his application on humanitarian compassionate grounds, that he is given the opportunity to remain here with his family so he can be a husband and a father to young Arjun, who has a bright future ahead as a united family here in Canada. And, I'm hoping also that, the minister can and really reflect upon the humanitarian compassionate aspects of what's happened with Mr. Sidhu and how he's acknowledged that from the day of the tragic accident and moving forward. And we allow him to be here in Canada with his family. And I believe, as his member of parliament, but morally, as a Canadian, we believe in these values. And I am hoping to gain support through my travels in the days and weeks ahead, and building consensus with my parliamentary colleagues as well.
Okay, I've got 30 seconds, but I do need to ask you, because you have written out to the Liberal caucus, and of course the Minister of Immigration is a member of your caucus. Any indication at all as to whether or not your fight here is getting any support within the caucus and from the minister?
I haven't spoken to the minister since I've sent out that email, but I have got a number of caucus members who have expressed support. I've also received hundreds of emails from Canadians from across the country who are very supportive, and Mr. Sidhu having the opportunity to stay here. And I'm going to continue that work with meeting community and faith groups in the days and weeks ahead, and stand with Mr. Sidhu to help him remain here in Canada, to be with his family, and to be a father and to be a husband.
George Chahal, thank you very much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.